What's up, Falcon fans? This is the recap video where we discuss what just happened to the Atlanta Falcons. If you guys like this type of content, hit that like button. If you guys hate this type of content, hit that dislike button. Will hurt your boy's feelings, well, maybe just a little bit. But if you want to do a huge favor for your boy by hitting that subscribe button, will help out the empire grow. So on that note, let's just talk about the good, the bad, and the Falcons. And let's start out with the bad. We had a golden opportunity to beat one of the best teams on the goddamn planet called Earth, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm very conflicted with this Atlanta Falcons defense because on the one hand, we didn't allow, Patrick Mahomes to at least score 6 touchdowns because that was a really good possibility. But instead, we only allow him to throw 2 touchdowns. Of course, he threw 1 interception, and then Buckner only scored 3 field goals. So the Atlanta Falcons did their job and trying to making sure that they didn't score so much points where clearly Kansas City Chiefs could at least score over 30 to 40 points in this game, but instead only scored 22 points in total. So not bad there. Now on the other hand, we did give them 34.57 time of possession, and that's crazy. Like 3 drives, there were over 6+ minutes. That's crazy. I mean, I've never seen that before. I was baffled on good play calling on the Kansas City Chiefs because clearly they were just eating up the clock and we couldn't stop them. And speaking of stopping, we could not stop number 4, Rashid Rice. This 12 reception for 110 yards and 1 touchdown, average 9.2 per reception. That's not going to cut it, guys. I mean, the Falcons were trying to do their best, but there were missed tackles. He could have been brought down a couple times, but then he was so shifty that he ran a couple extra yards. And containing Patrick Mahomes, look, he had 39 attempts, only made 26. Look, I knew Patrick Mahomes was going to throw the ball because I didn't think the running game was going to be that good for them. Well, clearly, I'm the dumb one because they ran all over us. 128 total rushing yards. Carson Steele, I didn't think he was gonna ball out. I mean, he didn't really ball out, but he did what he had to do to move the chain. 17 carries for 72 total rushing yards. 4.2 per carry. That's not gonna work, you guys. Undrafted, I think he's undrafted, right? Undrafted running back, and he almost get 100 rushing yards. That's not good. This Atlanta Falcons defense still keeps struggling and stopping the run. Good job for the defense for stopping, Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, but still, I mean, you cannot let one man just completely wreck you guys. This is not John Wick. This is not like those superhero movies where there's always that one guy just, destroys everybody. This is real life, and maybe, I don't know. Okay, sorry. Okay. Let me focus. I'm not trying to go on a tangent here. I was hoping that Jimmy Lake would have some disguised packages when it comes to the blitzing concepts because we need to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes. If you make him feel uncomfortable, he's going to make inaccurate throws. And sometimes we did that, but not more than I would like us to do because he really did burn us, and that was one thing I was hoping to see, and I just didn't see into fruition. These cross routes that the Kansas City Chiefs were doing, just killing us. We could not stop them in converting the first down, especially when they had wide open tight ends, wide receivers, where we thought we can, strike them out 1, 2, 3, but no, when they did those cross routes, the Atlanta Falcons defensive players weren't really near them, and that's another thing I thought the Atlanta Falcons did really poorly on, and maybe that was just because of the base concepts we have already, but we didn't really man press a lot. We didn't really make them fight for those yards because a lot of times, they were all over the field and our guys were trying to catch up with them, but they were already like 5 feet ahead where they got plenty of rooms. And and also you kind of notice and you see in the beginning where Patrick Mahomes had a lot of missed opportunities. If those were easily connected, this game would have been a game changer. So we have to work on that, but I just thought that was very noticeable that why the Atlanta Falcons constantly allowing them to get 5 extra yards when they're, set off when the ball snaps. It's just mind-blowing in my personal opinion. The Falcons side of the ball was kind of stagnant when we lost our 2 offensive line. So obviously I'm not going to go too, berserk on them because I get it. Having, Drew Doltman, The center lost, and then of course Caleb McGarry, our right tackle, got banged up, and that really, was the game where we couldn't run the ball efficiency enough, and it just showed. Now, obviously, it's kind of disappointing because the Kansas City Chiefs are not a good run stuffer team by any means, and they were second to dead last in total pass given by the quarterback play. So I feel like Kirk Cousins should have had more opportunity to at least get 300 to 400 passing yards easily. But I do want to discuss that Kirk Cousins should have not thrown that ball to get that interception to give Kansas City some points on the board. We were 14-10 before the half, and then for some reason, he decided to lob it up when he got hit. And then they got some points on the board to make it 13-14. And, frankly, just take the sack. Those are the smart plays where if you didn't feel like you were getting pressure up the face, just take the sack because it wasn't going to hurt the Atlanta Falcons. That really pissed me off. And I just realized, oh my God, we're going to fall flat. And in the third quarter, they scored 9 points. We didn't score any points in the third quarter. But in the fourth quarter, they didn't score any points, but we scored points. But I also want to say that just take the field goal. You're going against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, who won 3 Super Bowls in the past 5 years. Take the points, because they would have been 20-22 or something at that point. If you stop them, you might have a chance to kick a field goal, the winning field goal, to make it 23-22. I mean, am I being that ridiculous to assume that we could have stopped them in critical playtime? And that fourth and 1, 4 for 2 or something like that, where you run the ball, when you're not doing so hot with Bijan Robinson. Some of these things, I don't understand why the head coach is doing this. The whole point with having Zach Robinson is having that new spread, 3 out, scenario. You could have easily had one of the wide receivers. Even, what you could have? You could have Kyle Pitts, out somewhere, or maybe, Ray McLeod or Darnell Mooney or Drake London. You could have them spread out to give them one single coverage. Sometimes if you did a really good job in the first drive they did, you tricked the Kansas City Chiefs defense to allow them to be no man coverage. Easy touchdown. But again, I didn't like the 4-1 play call. Very annoying, very stupid in my personal opinion. And so on that note, let's just talk about the good. This is a very young team when it comes to recruiting and getting new players accoladed. Kirk Cousins, I think when he gets 100% healthy, hopefully next year. I know people want to say, why not this year? I get it. But you can see the brightness of the future. We almost beat one of the best teams in the NFL. We almost beat the Super Bowl champions. That's something to be proud of. That's something to realize that, Zach Robinson and Jimmy Lake, first year, offensive and defensive coordinators almost beat, Andy Reid and his coaching staff. That's something to be proud of, and having all these new recruits in Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod, who I thought was like an average pickup. We can see the chemistry still trying to work with Kirk Cousins and Drake London and Kyle Pitts and Darnell Mooney. But when they finally get that situated, when they finally get 100% on page with each other, this team will be scary, and we're going to see, the Atlanta Falcons score 30 plus points per game because we know they have the capability. Now, obviously, that will take some time, but in the meanwhile, these are just stepping stones. And remember, a lot of us were saying that we would be happy to have one win compared to this month, because this was going to be a brutal first season so far, and we beat the Eagles. You should have beat the Steelers, but I digress. Look, as it stands right now, we are 1-2. We could have easily be 0-3 right now. Like they always say, it's not how you start the game, it's how you finish the game. And we have a lot more games coming soon. And the games we have to win are in December. And hopefully, if everything works out right, our division rivals lose a lot of games. And if we start winning those games, those critical games, we can easily be in the playoffs. And that's a good point in my point of view. There's a lot more things I want to say, but my throat hurts, my head hurts, my stomach hurts, and I don't want to bore you guys. So if you guys lasted this long to the very end of the episode, thank you so much for taking your own personal time and day to watch these Falcon content videos. I like making videos for you guys, so what do Falcons do? Rise up. Until the next episode, show love and peace to the world, and peace.